Hello, my darlings. Welcome back to another ZADR fanfiction, finally. I was originally planning on filming this like a week ago, and then it completely slipped my mind. But we're here now with a ZADR one-shot called I Am Done. It is by Gamamirik Yumika on Archive of Our Own. And they say that the AU itself is by Pastel Gothicorn on Tumblr. So I'm not really sure who to credit here, so I'll just credit everyone. There are 7 chapters, however they're kind of short. So I think this is just gonna be a one video reading. I'll get the whole thing done in one video. I have a funny story before we get on with the fic. When I was looking for ZADR fanfictions to read, I found this one, and it's in a group of one-shots, so, I was reading through it, but I read the last chapter first, so then I spoiled the whole thing for myself, and it was really funny and really embarrassing. I was kind of annoyed, but anyway, I think that's kind of funny. That's never happened before, probably because I don't really know Archive of Our Own. I'm very openly on Wattpad most of the time, so this is just kind of unknown territory. Lastly, I apologize if the sound quality is a bit lower than it usually is. My setup's all messed up right now, so I apologize if it's a bit more echoey. But having said that, let's go in with chapter 1 of I'm Done. I was panting after a long day's work from letting Zim take over the earth. It was a struggle for me to get a grip, but I must do this to protect my home. Humanity is at a stack, unless I foil Zim's plans first before he can activate them. I pick up my backpack and began to walk home. I expect Gaz to be home and Dad to be at work, but I was wrong. When I opened the door, I saw Dad and Gaz at the table. I closed it and headed to my room to put my things up, but I heard Dad's voice calling me. "Son, do you mind if we talk?" he said sternly. I gulped and sat down at the table. "What is it?" I asked nervously. "I've been seeing you focused too much on all this nonsense of aliens. It's time for you to do a study in the real meaning of science," my dad announced. "But Dad," I started to speak, but Gaz began to talk. "Just do what he says. The less you talk about aliens, the better quiet I'll have," Gaz said without hesitation. My heart ached when I heard her say that. Why would she say that? I mean, she doesn't care about me before, but still, I thought. I simply got up from the table and went to my room. Once I was inside, I locked the door and placed my backpack on the ground. I felt tears streaming down and I couldn't hold back. I wiped and wiped the tears falling from my face, and it didn't help much for showing weakness. I guess even my family got tired of my weird obsession, I thought, still wiping. I tried not to scream from the sorrow I felt in my chest, but it was hard. I decided to do my work, despite my family's opinions. I finally stopped crying after a few minutes and sighed. Why must people be so rude to me? I thought. I got into my bed and wrapped myself up in my blanket to try to get some sleep. I just hope tomorrow is alright, I thought, before closing my eyes. Hopefully. I was walking to class after a nasty fight with the bullies. I didn't wait for Gaz, as I was still kind of mad at her for saying what she said last night. On my way, I didn't see Miss Bitter anywhere. Great. She must be skipping teaching. Typical, I thought. I sat down on my desk to wait for the rest of the class to come in, including him. Soon, everyone was coming in, and Zim had a smug look on his face. Uh-oh, I thought, glaring at him. Miss Bitters finally came in and announced the school was cancelled due to an accident. My gut was telling me that it was Zim's work, and I was about to tell Miss Bitters who it was until someone said, Gee, Dib, are you gonna blame Zim again? That's getting old already. I stopped myself and instead stayed quiet, remembering the talk from last night. Miss Bitters tilted her head in confusion, but grunted as she finally got away from the class. I packed my bag and headed home without Gaz after everyone left class, including Zim. And it's still early, I thought, checking the time. I saw Gaz talking to her friends about some game, but I paid no attention to that. Once I was in the alley, I saw Zim with a smirk on his face. "How'd you like it?" he asked, innocently. "What are you talking about?" I said in suspicion. Zim laughed with excitement as he explained what his plan was all along. "I'll stop you," I said with determination. He continued to laugh as he prepared himself to fight me. I placed myself into a battle stance and we fought for hours. I was panting before punching Zim's face and was pushed back. It took a while for Zim to be on the same level as me, but I was already tired of fighting. "So how does it feel?" he suddenly said, making me stop. "How does what feel?" I said, suspecting him again. "That no one ever listens to you," he said while smirking darkly. "What?" I asked, but he continued. "To have nobody by your side? To be by yourself while everyone thinks that you're crazy? Shut up!" I said, looking down. "To be useless for anyone to be with, and everyone believing me? Stop!" I pleaded, covering my ears. Unfortunately, he continued on, until my breaking point exploded. Reality, like to have your own family hate you. At this point, it broke me so badly that I decided to give up on everything. "You win," I mumbled, getting up. "Excuse me? I didn't quite hear that right." Zim mocked me, but I didn't give a damn anymore. "I said you win," I yelled, shocking him. "You win, Zim. Go ahead and blow up the earth for all I care. I'm done," I said, storming off. "Dib stink?" Zim tried to reply, but I shoved him away. "Leave me alone, Zim. I'm done now and forever," I screamed at him, walking away. "And I'm done with everything that people expect me to be. From now on, I'll do nothing to protect the earth and its people. All of them can go to hell for I care. I'm done." Chapter 2. After a few days went by, I was mostly with the computer at home. Gaz and my dad were tearful that I wasn't talking about the paranormal during the time. However, as time slipped by, they were starting to notice changes that I've made. I would be in my room all day. I didn't watch my old favorite show, started smoking, and had no remorse for anyone. So one day, while at breakfast, Dad said to me, "Son, I know that you stopped believing in the paranormal stuff, but don't you want to start something in life?" "Yeah, don't you want to do something?" Gaz said, agreeing with Dad. Well, I basically gave up everything on life. I started eating healthier, sleeping better, and relaxing more, so no, I replied simply. Besides, I don't care about my future anyway. "But I do. You're dooming your future," Dad exclaimed as he continued to yell. "Doom, doom, doom everywhere." Oh, this must be my favorite song, I thought, smiling, as Dad remained saying that word repetitively. Gaz was concerned for me, but decided not to speak. I continued doing my business, not interacting with my sister or Dad. At school, it was no different. I ignored everyone in school, making the bullies pay if they ever bothered me, disrespecting the teachers, and ignoring Gaz or barely seeing her. At first, people thought I changed and were happy about it, but soon they were regretting their words. I turned from the shy, awkward, bullied kid to an aggressive, strong-willed, non-bullied one. I never bullied anyone because, why would I? It'd be pointless to do that. Besides, high school is almost over. And that would mean I can finally get out of this hell place. I can leave high school with a diploma, get a job somewhere else, and never return. No more Dad, Gaz, Zim, or anyone to bother me. I smiled at my thought, ignoring Zim again for the 5th time this week. He never understands that I don't want to be his enemy. But why does he keep doing this? I thought while being pissed. I slammed the door in his face when I arrived at my house, not replying to Gaz and going to my room. I yawned at the tiredness I was feeling and decided to be on my computer for a bit. While I was searching and Googling some things, I noticed that there were some cute lizards. I clicked over the link and I saw so many reptiles. Oh my god, they're so cute, I thought, smiling and gushing over the lizards. I continued to search more and more of these lizards and I found that I can buy one. There was a store near my house, so with the money I had left, I rushed out of the house to buy one. I walked inside of the store and asked the pet owner to bring me a lizard. He looked confused, but regardless, did his work. There were so many lizards to pick from, but I decided to go with the green one. Damn, reminds me of Zim in a way, I suddenly thought. Once I purchased Amise, I named her that. I walked home with her on my shoulder. I smiled happily as we continued to spend time with each other. Maybe I should have bought 2 more. Then again, I probably don't have enough money for supplies, I thought. At home, I closed my door to my room and started using the computer again. M, her nickname, was on my shoulder as I was using the computer. I smiled as she was near me and nowhere else from my family. Sometimes, I wonder if they actually ever cared about me. Oh, that's true, I thought. Oh well. Oh well. Chapter 3. Zim POV. Before the incident. I was thinking of some way to make the Dib human want to be on my side. It would be difficult for the Dib to not join me since he's too focused on saving the world shenanigans. So, one day, I decided to make his bad day worse and let him see the truth. Only, I didn't know that I made it worth less than it already was. On that day, I insulted him so much that I knew he would break. However, that wasn't the result I wanted, not at all. Once I heard Dib say all those things, I tried speaking to him, but he shoved me out of the way and left. I ran off to my base as soon as I knew that he wasn't coming back. He can't give up. He can't give up on me, the great Zim, I thought, skin burning because of the stupid acid rain. Once I arrived at my base, I burst out. Dib doesn't want to talk to me anymore. Gur was watching his usual angry monkey on the TV when he heard me. What? Gur asked, not understanding what I'm talking about. Gur, Mary doesn't want to talk to me anymore, I said, trying to make sense in Gur's language. Why not? Gur asked in his usual tone. Because I did something to make him extremely mad at me, I told him, hugging him. So, what now? He asked, hugging me back. For once, Gur, I don't know, I said, my voice trailing off. We stayed like this for the rest of the day, moving around the couch to watch TV or something else. I didn't bother to shout at Gur when he made such a mess, but my mind did wander over to the Dib. How I finally ruined my chance to make him into a bad guy. How I ruined a chance to a truce. How I ruined the chance to make him mine. I ruined the chance to have Dib by my side and to have the earth at my hand. I looked outside, still seeing the rain pouring like cats and dogs. I will never understand these humans' metaphors. I turned back to see Gur still watching Angry Monkey. Not that it bothered me before. I looked up to see the roof and sighed. What have I done? A few days later. I walked away from the Dib's house since he slammed it in front of my face. It was more times than I could count for. Sure, he still talks to me, but most of the time he just ignores me. I get that I made him who he is now, but I'm worried. This kind of attitude isn't the same as Dib before. I liked Dib before with all of his flaws, strengths, and weaknesses. Why did I have to go this far? I thought, walking home sadly. When I went home, I saw Gur watching TV again. I didn't feel like scolding him and left. I changed out of my disguise and thought back to Dib. If I hadn't pushed him to this point, would he have joined me? Would he be my mate for the rest of our lives? Would he only destroy his planet to show me his loyalty? Would we have started a family together? So many questions, yet the same answer. If I had to guess, I think Dib would still fight for Earth, even if it means being killed. I laid on the bed that I made and just stared up at the roof. It's not like I had anything to do, to be honest. After I stopped calling the tallists, I began to see the errors of my ways and tried to be better. That being said, so far, all I've done was the worst. Urgh, I'm such an idiot, I thought, covering my face with my hands. Why did I make that stupid mistake? Then, all of a sudden, I hear Gur screaming about no more monkey. I groan and I got up from my bed. I don't want to deal with Gur's whining. I'll have to fix that stupid TV or it'll never stop. I got up and walked over to the power generator to start it again. While I worked on it, I didn't notice a text on my phone until I saw a red light. I grabbed it and it was sent by the Dib's sister. We need to talk, it said. I texted her saying that I'll be there and finished what I've done. On my way to the Dib's house, I got another notification, and it said not to let the Dib see me. Once I had arrived, I saw Dib, but he didn't see me since he was more focused on something. I saw him going up to the room, and that was my cue to meet his sister. I knocked and saw the Gaz human opening the door. "Hello, Zim," Gaz said without politeness. "We need to talk." "Just us, or—" "No, with Dad too," she said, walking with me to the kitchen where her dad unit was. "Ah, daughter, I see you brought Dib's friend over," he said, pointing out the obvious. "Enough of that talk, Dad. We need to discuss Dib," she said grimly. This stopped him from whatever he was doing and nodded at once. We sat down at the table, and the dad unit began to talk. "I get that he gave up on the paranormal and stuff, but he's also given up on life. I don't want my son to be like this." "Me too. I mean, he was so focused on doing his thing until all of a sudden he gave up. That's not the Dib I know," Dib's sister said. "I agree. I can't believe it either that he's changed. Maybe it's my fault for pushing him this far," I started, looking away. Neither of us spoke, but I knew that it wasn't just my fault. I do feel blame for this. That's why I enrolled him in a part-time job at the lab, just so he won't slack off after high school, Dad Unit said. Whoa, Dad. He doesn't need to be in the labs. He needs a girlfriend. Gaz Beast argues back. No, what he needs is to be with me, since I know him too well, I said, staring them down. In less than a minute, we were arguing about Dib's future and what will happen. What we didn't know, though, was Dib hearing everything. And it wasn't a pretty sight to see him like this. Chapter 4. Dib POV. While I was in my room, I could not hear the loud shouts coming from downstairs. I got up from my bed, placed Amise down in her cage, and went to see what the commotion was about. I swear if they don't stop shouting. I stopped as soon as I heard them saying my name. What? I thought, before hearing more. I hear Gaz saying that I need a girlfriend, Dad saying that I need to work with him in the labs, and Zim saying I needed to be a bad guy. Then, the commotion became louder and louder until I couldn't bear it anymore. I slammed my hands to the wall, causing all of them to stop, and then I said, "So, this conversation benefits me, or what?" Neither of them said a word, making me scoff as I continued. "So what? Are you all talking about someone else? 'Cause there's another person named Dib out there?" I sarcastically said. "Dib, we're discussing your future, nothing more," Dad said, making my blood boil. "My future? Why, just me. Am I the lucky one, or what?" I replied with sarcasm. "Dib, I know you gave up on life, but..." "But what, Dad? Just because I gave up on the paranormal doesn't mean you, Gaz, or even Zim can make choices for me. Besides, aren't you glad that I stopped doing the things you hated?" I interrupted him. He didn't speak, making Gaz speak up next. "But that's right, Dib. We're worried about your future and..." "And what? Wanted to help? Oh gee, I feel so happy right now." I interrupted again, but with sarcasm. This made Gaz's face fall into a slight frown and looked at the ground. Zim didn't say anything, which I was grateful for, but that didn't mean I was pleased with him either. "So what now? Are you going to leave me alone? Or are you going to be the supportive family that I so desperately need?" I harshly asked. They don't look up at me, and with that, I went to my room. I slammed my door, locking it as well with the window, and sighing in annoyance. First, they didn't want to support me for being myself, and now they want to? What the hell? I don't want them at all, I angrily thought. Amise was confused with the situation and tilted her head. I sighed and patted her small, adorable head. "I'm lucky to have brought you, you adorable creature," I said, feeling calm. I closed her cage after feeding her food and water and laid in bed. Soon, it'll all be over, I thought. Soon. A few weeks later. Zim POV. A few weeks had passed since my conversation with the Dib's family happened. I avoided Dib, Gaz, and the professor for a purpose of not being yelled at by the Dib. For some reason, I didn't like being yelled at Dib. It made me feel pity and guilty. I knew it was kind of my fault, but that won't stop me from turning Dib into a bad guy. He'll see. He'll see that I'm not weak. Right? Right? I began to remember that Keith was somehow involved with this since he became a life coach. Flashback of a memory. I was walking to school as usual without the Dib seeing me. It was bad enough for him to hate me more, but was it really necessary? To answer that, yes. I bit my lips before bumping into someone. I looked up after falling, about to yell at them, until I saw it was Keith. "Hi, Zim," he said positively. I internally groaned, and I was about to tell him off until an idea popped in my head. "Hey, Keith, mind helping me with something?" I asked. He agreed with a bit of hesitation, not that I blame him, and explained the part of the plan. At first, he didn't want to take it very well, but I knew that he would help me either way, so as we walked towards Dib, I feel like I could help him back to his old self. Oh, how wrong was I. When we got there, I played my part, saying my part about how Keith and I were enemies. However, Keith was shocked at seeing Dib and asked if he was okay. "OMG, I can't believe you two are enemies. Nice to see you two haven't changed a bit," he said, getting out his smoker. Keith was very conflicted and left. I was shocked when he left while Dib was laughing at my pain. I missed that laughter, I thought. I left, feeling embarrassed more than a slight pain in my squiggly sploosh. I shiver at that memory. I guess Dib is really not going to change, I thought while sighing. Looks like there's no hope for me. Chapter 5. 1 month later. Dib POV. I was kind of excited since graduation was here. That means no more Gaz, Dad, or Zim around to bother me. I already packed up everything from my old room and moved it to my car. It was old, but it still worked. Plus, it was mine, so no rent from anyone anytime soon. I walked up from that stand to get my diploma, shook the teacher's hand, and left. As I held it, I knew that it was now or never. After the graduation speech and all that bull nonsense, I left to head home one last time. There, I saw Zim, Keith, Gaz, and Dad in the living room. They were so eager to see me, but I didn't want to talk to them. Reluctantly, I walked where they were, and we began to chat. And by we, I mean them. We talked about how much things were going to change, as well as our happy memories, how much we laughed, cried, and had each other. But it was more of them instead of me. I told them that I remembered nothing of it, and they soon realized that I was right. I got to leave for the last time. But then, Zim had the nerve to confess his semi-love. I was disgusted. Not because I hated him, but because it was too late. Too late to be with me. I scoffed at him and yelled that I didn't want to be with him. Gaz was slightly crying, Dad was upset, Keith gasped. Zim fell to the floor while I turned my back, leaving them all before heading to the car. Goodbye and good riddance, I thought angrily before driving away. I can't help but shed a tear as I drove off. However, I can't go back. Not after everything that's happened to me. Maybe someday, I'll come back and forgive you all. But right now, I hope to never see you all, I thought. Once I arrived in a new place, I set down my things inside. It was so much work since I'm living by myself with no one in my new apartment. Amise was the first of my concerns, but luckily she got used to moving. Then, my new and old things had been moved, as well as buying new supplies to help me. As I was doing this, I was sweating like crazy, but I didn't stop. Once the work was done, I sighed and rubbed my arm to remove the sweat from my forehead. It's been a long day, I thought, changing to get into bed to sleep. I wonder what will happen tomorrow for me now that I moved away. I stared up at the roof of my new apartment, and after a few seconds, I fell asleep. A few weeks later. "Want to smoke?" Catherine asked, pulling out a cigarette. I nodded, grabbing it, and using my lighter to lit it up. It's been several weeks since I moved out. Since then, I've worked as a cashier near my apartment, as well as making a new friend. Her name was Catherine, and she's just like me. She gave up on life, and we're just hangout buddies. She agrees with things that I did when I was living in that awful place. Life is certainly different there, but nothing was going to make me change. 'Cause, after all, why go after something you longed for when you can just give up? And that's it for I Am Done, a very differently toned fanfiction, I think, than what we're used to on this channel. Like, edgy, you know, no one gets a happily ever after. Like, it's hardly even like a ZADR fanfiction, I suppose. It's really just a div fanfiction. Anyway, despite its darker tone and ending, if you liked it, let me know. If you have any recommendations, please tell me about them in the comments, because I am scraping for fanfictions. I would love to do more, but I just feel like I can't find any good, completed fanfiction. So if you know of any, if you've written any, please let me know. I will gladly do more fanfiction readings. Or if you have any other ships you'd like me to read, tell me about that too. I'm open to every and any suggestion there is. Anyway, darlings, that's it for this video. I hope you all liked it. And don't remember to drink water and love yourself, because I love you.